I've
Mike?
said that before.
Can I hand that
What?
to you directly?
If they don't like me, they can vote me out.
Oh, yeah, good.
Simple.
That's right,
Well, there has to be a recall, because you're not up for election.
that's right. They can do that too.
And then they won't get any minutes, they'll serve, teach
There
them a
you
lesson.
go.
No, he'll take his minutes and he'll leave.
Oh, you know what?
Don't you owe me like a month's worth of minutes?
I probably do.
I move that we accept the minutes from February
13?
10th. No,
With
11th. 11th. February 11th.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Second?
Second.
second.
Any discussion, any corrections, or?
No, I think they were perfect. They were right here.
No, they're
Okay.
actually not.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi,
How about the minutes from 25th?
we already voted that last
Yeah,
time.
we did that already.
And
You voted before the meeting was over? You
What?
No, the 20,
25th of
You
July?
don't have a meeting on
January?
the 11th,
Yeah.
and then the 25th was,
No,
that's
today's.
tonight.
that's today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote.
You are. Go back.
Chemo brain.
Yeah, I thought it was in March already.
Nope.
Sorry.
I've had that.
Okay,
I
so,
move that we approve the venison sign.
What?
have you looked it over? What's
No,
What's
is that on yet?
Let's see what it is. This is the signs that come in.
How come we don't have the microphone over here tonight?
You guys usually have a microphone?
Yeah.
This is news to me.
What was that liquor store coming soon?
Is that what the sign says?
It's a liquor store. New York Wine Island.
Oh, it is. It's right over by TJ Maxx.
Well, I know where it's at, but the sign's been up there for a couple of months saying coming soon.
Yeah.
And with the gym, gym done yet?
Yeah, that's been, maybe they lost their bank account.
They drank their profits.
The gym?
Huh?
Maybe they're
Oh,
in
the
cahoots.
gym? I always thought that was already up and running. No?
I move that we approve the sign submittal by Highland Commons.
I haven't seen it.
Stop this night war.
Yeah, you wanna see it? What it is, what are they changing?
It all looks good to me.
Do you see why are they coming in with this time? Let me see, this is. Oh, for AT&T.
But this should be, the sign of the liquor store should be right in here, shouldn't it? Okay.
The one that doesn't have
They're
any,
not ready yet.
we don't have a sign yet, okay. He's doing with AT&T, do you see AT&T on there?
Center here.
We're gonna split.
Is AT&T going?
That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what he says it's the sign. Oh, here it is, near
Yeah,
Muyas.
learning how to do that with 20.
You
Over
what?
here,
Oh, yeah. In Williams.
at 18. Well, that seems like
Yeah, that's fine.
not a bad sign.
Looks good.
Where does it say?
This top coat? Oh, the top coat's from
Oh, okay.
Car.
Perfect.
Substrate that was with the car.
All right.
I'm not buying things I don't look at.
That was good. We'll sign it. I find it, what to do with it.
Wait a minute, I didn't get to see that. Was there anything there? AT&T.
Yeah, he put a AT&T's store's going up in Muyas.
Oh, yeah, it's nice to have three open days here, right?
The cover with it. I had it right here. Put it in there?
Steel. If you have a pen, I can steal.
Well,
Pencil, anything? Crayon? Thank you.
do this all the time. I handle it.
Wasn't there something to the right of Bed Bath
Down here.
and Beyond? A pet store or something?
Yeah, is it still there? Still there.
It's not marked here.
What?
Bed Bath, PetSmart?
PetSmart's on there. The
No,
sign.
It's in
that
Hudson.
next to them was supposed to be the liquor store, and
Right.
after that is PetSmart. There's a store
Yeah.
between
It's a blank.
them.
It's in Hudson.
Can you see?
That's smart.
I thought the liquor store was on the other side.
Well, no, the original place was right next to Bed and Bath, the original
Oh.
location,
Really?
which never.
Michael's Bed and Bath and the blank store, and then PetSmart.
Mhm.
So you seconded it, right?
What?
That motion?
I didn't hear it.
Except the signs.
Oh, wait a minute a second.
Okay, any other discussion, except, no, he's still looking at it. I'll let you look at it.
I don't see it. Oh, there it is. I see it. Mm-hmm. It's good to me.
That's good to you. Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 I move that we pay $112 to Gatehouse New England for 2 ads that will run in the Worcester Telegram on the 20th of January and the 2nd of February.
Who's
For a public
Gatehouse?
hearing. Telegram and Gazette.
Hmm?
Telegram and Gazette.
And what do we charge, what account do we charge it to? What was that public hearing for?
It was for,
It's exciting.
Forgot what it was for.
the common driveway.
What else?
Not the common driveway, the scenic roads act.
Scenic road, okay, so
The what?
that comes out of our,
Yeah, we'll pay that.
For what?
Scenic roads.
Oh,
We had that public hearing for their curb cut through the
yeah.
stone wall.
can anybody come and say anything about it?
Packed house.
Pack house.
Incredible.
I've had people steal rocks off my stone walls.
You steal them off the cemetery wall. The cemetery wall,
Goodness.
all the way. They'll
What,
take,
the
they'll take a
flagstones?
stone every 20 feet. I'm coming down the field
Flagstone.
on the tractor, I
No.
look in front, and there's this gap, and I say, and then I look and there's another one over there. So someone comes in and says, oh, auntie, and they steal,
Well, if they've got the right color of
yeah, moss.
moss growing on them, that's worth a fortune.
Yeah. But the wall is still there.
Should electrify it.
I'm surprised
That's a good
they
idea.
could steal gravestones too, if they could.
I have an idea for doing mailboxes that they like to take down, you know?
What do?
You
Electrify
put
it?
2 of them side by side. You use the one that's further along on the traffic pattern and fill the first one full of cement. So when they hit it, it breaks their forearm and they don't do it again.
When you were a kid, didn't you go around busting up mailboxes
No,
and stuff?
I was a
No.
good kid.
Blowing things up? and-
No, I broke into houses to see what they looked
Broke
like.
into house. That's bad.
You know,
You're on camera.
I know, but it was unoccupied houses. You know, the
And you
house
wanted me
that's up
to
near
sign
you? That's right, that had a Brewer Road.
saying that I was a good
That used
person.
to be a
She's
big
copping
lawn.
on film to break into the
The
house.
back part of it now
What's wrong with
sits
this
over here
picture?
as a second
She
house.
was a kid.
And it was
Statute of
fascinating. It
limitations
was,
is expired?
Her father did rolling, it was great.
Absolutely.
who?
Archie would not like to hear that you were breaking into houses.
No, but I was doing it with Nancy Phipps.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes.
And-
Carl wouldn't have enjoyed it either.
And she'd say, ah, and I'd say, the window was open, I just slid in to the cellar and then went upstairs. I wanted to see the walls were hand painted,
112.
112.
so they looked like it was reflections of color through the windows.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
I used to go steal wood out of new houses to make my tree house.
Hmm? What?
I used to go get wood from new houses to build my tree house, but I took only the scraps.
disturb anything, I just wanted to see them. There used to be diamond pattern windows in the front of that house. And so that the paint was like, it had
This
come through
this is the
the
big Colonial or the one next to it in the back?
big colonial, right in front.
Yeah.
Do you have any
I just
idea
slid it
with
through a
this,
cellar window.
who's Kelly Gorman and whose credit card we talking about? You can send
That one's rented now.
Oh, that's the old, that's the 68, that's mine, don't worry about that. I paid it, because we weren't gonna get any ads if I didn't pay it, so I just went and paid it.
Oh, that's done already, this is the
Right,
new charge.
this is the 112.
Okay.
The 68, she said, I'm sorry, we can't run your ad because you haven't paid your bill. I said, who do I talk to? And she told me to call Georgia, so I called Georgia, the state, as opposed to the woman. And they said, yes, very hospitably. And I said, what do I have to do? I want to be legal so I can publish this. So she said, you have to pay your bill. So I said, okay.
You gotta pay your bill, what do you think?
So I paid it.
Did we ever pay you back?
No, because trying to figure out how to get paid back, I don't know how to do it. I can't prove what it was for. Right?
Don't you have your credit card?
I don't think it's up to you to support the town of Berlin.
Life's too short.
You got one of those?
I'm not gonna bother.
Oh, you're not gonna bother?
No.
Life's too short. Well, maybe you can
If
take a
it
look
take
at
me
the
one
taxes.
time to get the $68 back, then it's worth it. Besides, look at all the enjoyment we get in the candy and stuff. What happened to our candy from, we didn't get candy from,
No, we didn't.
usually we get candy at Christmas time from Tui. Oh, he's not there anymore.
Oh, he isn't?
Yeah, he's executive vice president of New England Development.
Really?
We'll have to tell Peter Tan, where's the candy?
Right.
You want my next item?
Yes, please.
Roberta Cameron from the community, what is it, Eloise?
That resilience?
Community Opportunities Group,
Oh.
who did the study
The
for,
COG?
she did the study for
Housing Partnership?
the,
Which one?
she did the two studies on the impact for River Bridge in '09 and then in '13.
Okay, so she's at
So
the same one.
Judy Barrett did the one in '09 and Roberta did the one in '13.
Oh,
So Sennies have agreed to foot the bill, Riverbridge has agreed to foot the bill for a new study, and we finally got squared away in the language of what it was gonna entail. So it's gonna be a 3-phase
I
study.
got this.
Yeah. So she just sent us that, and she's ready to start on the first phase, which is the impact to public safety, particularly ambulance. Because the way
Why
the
are we doing that
development.
now?
Huh?
Why are we doing that now?
Well, because the way the development agreement works,
They were paying it.
they're gonna supply ambulance service for all of Riverbridge. But when you talk to public safety, they say that's technically problematic, because if there's a call and you say, well, we're not gonna go because they're covering it and they don't, it comes back on you. So you still have, you're gonna have to provide service. So they're saying, this is not functional. And then the other thing is that within their structure, the tenant has an obligation to cover the cost of any calls that are refused. So if a cafe calls and says, I have a client that's down, send an ambulance, and they get there and the person says, I don't want the ambulance, forget it, the obligation to pay, according to the agreement, the tenant's agreement amongst the Riverbridge folks, is that the tenant pays the bill for the call that isn't utilized. And again, public safety says, "Ooh, that means that they're not gonna call." And so that gets you into trouble too. So, or potentially they wouldn't call. I mean, I think
You
these
have
guys,
proof.
I think these guys probably will, but, you know.
I had another lawyer.
So they just said,
Well, it's expensive.
so public safety said, we need to reevaluate this. So the first thing we want to do with Community Opportunities Group and Reverter is to have them review all that arrangement in the development agreement to make sure that everybody's on the same page and we're legal. And the other thing that concerns Margaret and public safety is they're going 3 floors now. So if they're taking people out of their apartments, and they're plugging them downstairs, you know, you might get injury to some of your personnel, and if that's the case, you know, how do we resolve some of that stuff?
And
Because
this
it's an
was all
obligation
set
on
up
us.
when it was at Sierra.
Well, it was for the whole site though, so it was still
Right.
gonna be apartments and commercial, but we weren't as, I mean, you know, in 2009, we,
Sounded good at that time.
and
Yeah.
it was a much different police and fire department at that time. I mean, we're far more sophisticated, and these guys know what their obligations are far better than they ever did, and we've got Margaret now to help too, so.
Do we want to have Roberta come in and tell us,
So-
give us a little more background, or do some overview? We got this chart.
So it's, at some point it says, what, doesn't it say she comes in to report to the?
Yeah, after she's done her study and,
So I think,
For
I
review.
think for this first phase, where it's public safety, I'd say just let them run free, and then have her come and
okay.
talk to us.
And she wants
Because
to,
I don't think we can contribute a hell of a lot to
Right.
that discussion ahead of time. It's just, you know, she'd come in and we'd say, thanks for coming at 7 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. And,
right,
you know, I think we're better off saying, work with Margaret, and she gave me a list of stuff she wanted today, and I
all right, so
said,
you get a little.
I let Margaret know that, you know, she wants the
She
development
wants to
agreements.
clarify, Roberta wants to clarify the point of contact, to obtain information, support, and schedule meetings.
Yeah,
I think that's Margaret.
yeah,
Does Margaret agree?
yeah.
Okay, so,
So for this first part, because you saw Margaret's email saying, I'm happy to supply her. And so Margaret's brought together all the development agreement stuff for her own benefit, so she's got all that. And she's met with Sennies to talk about all the implications and where they stand on all their commitments.
all right, this is good.
And so she'll work with Roberta on that part. And then I think when we get into traffic and some of that
Yeah.
stuff, you know, we'll get Roberta in to, see, the idea is to deal with public safety in March. We won't deal with the school impacts until September, after the apartments are partially filled. And we'll probably deal with transportation during the summer. So she'll come in to meet with us and report on public safety, and then we can talk about the next phase and schedule that. So I think it's,
All right, so you're in contact.
I mean, I
you're
think
in
that way we
contact
don't have
with
to spend a lot of time, waste her time.
Right. And the Sennies have agreed to it. So,
Yeah. So that's the news on that front.
Were we prompted to do this? Did Sennies want this study done, or did we tell Sennies we wanted it?
Sennies wanted it done. And we
Which
said,
center are you gonna be dealing with?
oh,
No.
Well, then, of course, in the spring, we gotta see what the restaurant's gonna be like, too, right?
so that's all I have to say about that.
okay.
That's good.
You want my next report?
Boy, you've been a busy bee.
So the town got a grant as part of the community resilience program on the part of the state. What did we get, 10,000?
Either 10 or
Community
20.
resilience. Ooh, that's good.
What?
It was either one or the other.
Yeah, I think it's 10. Maybe. Anyway, the Central Mass Regional Planning has met with public safety. Who was there? Police, fire, the accountant, Margaret. Forget who else was there. They had a quick little meeting the other day just to describe the program. The idea is that you're supposed to look into the future. I wonder if there's in advance of a community resilience workshop, right groundwork. The need for municipalities, corporations, organizations, and government agencies, among others, to build community resilience and adapt to extreme weather and hazards is now strikingly evident. Ongoing events continuously reinforce this urgency and compel leading communities to proactively plan and act. The leadership is to be commended as it reduces the vulnerability of residents, employees, students, infrastructure, and the environment, and serves as an example of what is possible. So the idea is to look at what the potential hazards are. So, what if? You've asked a bunch of what if questions. And then to look for as passive a solution as you can come up with to start with. And so they want to pull together probably 50 or 60 or 70 people from town for a workshop at some point later in the spring. And it'll be facilitated by a number of people from Central Mass. And they'll bring in people like Sudbury Valley trustees or Audubon and Mass Department of Transportation. And then they want people from a variety of different committees in town, and then landowners, in certain cases, people that are working on the development of certain infrastructure and stuff like that. So they started putting a list together. And I said, you ought to be on it, because you're actively involved in acquiring properties and fixing them up and that sort of thing. We talked about Michael Sawyer, as again, someone
I
that.
moved to the top of the hill for when the floods come.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
We
you
bought a
people-
property up on the top of the hill,
Oh,
because when the water level rises,
You'll be fine.
it'll be fine.
I'll be floating down.
Bend it, of course.
So it's sort of a
Those fences.
long range,
Paddocks, they have fences.
brainstorming session that brings a variety of people to the table and then asks them questions about, where is it that we want to be in 20 years? And what are the types of things that we should be looking
Putting
at?
in the subdivision.
If you've got dams that you need to get rid of, that was one thing. And you can apply for some funding. So out of this may come, fix this bridge or deal with this culvert or try to, get rid of this dam or.
Does it include electronic?
Resiliency in terms of,
Yeah. The city of Baltimore being hacked.
I didn't see that in here as much as I did the natural environment, and in this particular instance.
That's a big threat.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, you gotta get rid of Alexis first.
Although it does, infrastructure to a degree is part of it. That's an extra copy. So take that. Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program,
Thank you.
MVP. So, let's see, maybe we're on here. Berlin, we got 20,000. And the most would be this and 40,000, like Georgetown. Those are there's planning grant awardees, and then there's action grant awardees. And the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs received 111 applications for cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth in response to the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Action Grants. And of those, 54 have received action grant funding, so 50%, that's pretty good odds. I mean, chances are you get on that list in a couple of years, you'll get there. Acton was removing the dam, $112,000. So, people have talked about that dam on Lower Pleasant Street, below you, and eliminating
I'm gonna
it.
start throwing rocks in there to build it back up again.
Climate action, adaptation, resilience plan, or, then there's another one, develop protective measures for vulnerable drinking water supply, increasing regional flood resiliency through redesigning culverts, urban forest climate resiliency master plan, culvert replacement and deep brook stream restoration. So it's mostly trying to deal with flood hazards and stuff like that. But, I mean, you might very well look at the impact of gypsy moths on trees that are roadside, and then how you're gonna deal with that, and should you be developing a whole new plan as to how to.
Not even gypsy moths, what about the other thing that came, Asian longhorn beetle? that
Yep, yep.
Attacked Worcester.
You know, so development of an
That's
island-wide
moved
specific
out, too.
adaptations to culvert replacement,
They lost
resilient
a lot.
North River Canal corridor, rural dirt road resilience in Sheffield, critical regional infrastructure and social vulnerability in the lower Mystic watershed, integrated vector-borne disease control program, so, you know, a bunch of stuff. So that's
That's interesting.
getting started, and we got 20,000, so Margaret worked on that one, and.
We'd actually be doing planning then, instead of reacting.
Yeah, so there'll be there'll be this initial, this big workshop will be particular individuals that are invited to attend. And then I guess there'll be some other events after that, present.
Is there a core team yet?
There's a small group, it's, you know, fire, police, Margaret.
Talk to Margaret if you want to be included.
So that's what's going on with that.
Big team.
You can't sign a pencil.
Sure.
That's all I have.
You wouldn't even let his pen over there, because he said you had one.
I have a pencil.
Signable. It's a legal tender.
The articles are all in, and we asked for 5,000 for the master plan.
You did? We did?
Yeah,
I feel we still have a.
we do, but we can spend it. There's a bunch of things that.
A lot of things coming up.
Yeah, we need to be prepared. And I haven't heard any more from Carrie.
You was just waiting for me to do something.
What's Carrie doing?
You and I have to talk.
Who's Carrie? What's Carrie?
Yeah,
Carrie.
why don't we get you to come down, we'll show you those things and we'll talk.
Yeah. Okay, good.
We've got another grant for $90,000 shared between 4 towns. Rutland, Hardwick, Berlin.
Barry.
Is it Barry? Yeah, Barry. Is it Hardwick or is it Oakland?
And why those particular 4 towns?
They all were interested in their center villages and how to look into the future and plan. And so
Well, that's what you told me
we got Jay, when Gary was over there at the Economic Development Committee meeting at Cabela's that Berlin hosted. And you got talking to Carrie and she said, well, and remember she came to our plan
Yeah.
board meeting.
about. No, I don't.
She came to the plan board meeting and said
Barry
that
Berlin, who's that there? What?
they have this, this program called,
When did she come to the planning board?
back when you were young,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Barry, Berlin, Hardwick, and Rutland.
Who came here?
Carrie.
Carrie.
Sawa.
Oh, yeah, I remember her, yeah. She sat right there.
Right, so,
So, there's a core group that's gonna start, and then there's a bigger group which will be other players, and we haven't pulled that together yet, so we're waiting, you know, we gotta get together with her and say, we're ready, right?
That's what you and I should talk, because I've been working on it.
But,
We don't have a,
yeah,
so
so
we'll figure out.
we'll get you to come down, and I'll show you some history and we can talk.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we've got that going on, we've got this resiliency thing going on, we've got the study for the impact of River Bridge going on. There's a lot of good stuff. It's fun. Nice position to be in.
So reacting.
And
If somebody gives us the money to do it.
if you want, I mean, Tainter, I chased Tainter about some question back months ago, and he said, I'm thinking of you guys, I'm writing some stuff up, and I said, well, all right, but you want me to light a fire on him and see if he really wants to do it, and if he
Mhm.
doesn't, then we'll get somebody else?
Right.
I mean, there's no point, because we're
Yeah,
trying
I
to
mean,
create
when
that
do you
umbrella
wanna
for the
bring him
master
in?
plan.
When do you wanna bring him in, though? You wanna bring him in now, between now and town meeting, or do you
I
wanna?
mean, we don't have much for town meeting when you think about it, right?
We gotta hold the hearings for all of the
Yeah.
articles.
And we've got to meet with Roberta at some point. Probably better to meet with him before the summer than to wait till
Right.
June.
Yeah, because he's gonna be drifting off to summer things.
Well, let me reach out and say, you know, what do you think? Do you have time or don't you? And if you don't, just, we're fine, you know, we'd love to have you, but if you don't, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's been able to get linked up with us.
Well, he probably just is reacting to whoever's bugging him.
Yeah, I don't know how busy he is with stuff. But it'd be nice to create that big picture over all this stuff. And he has the talent to do it, and he knows the town, so it'd be great. But if he doesn't want to do it, we might as well look for somebody else. There's other people out there. And if we're doing all these pieces, we want somebody to help us with the big picture.
Right.
I mean, that to me is more of our role. If you've got housing partnership dealing with, you know, the land production, and you've got conservation dealing with the open space, and, you know,
Need a quarterback.
yeah. We can do that, and we need some help. All right, I'll call him.
The Conservation Commission is talking about putting a warrant article in that we're talking about it restricts development in some way. Should we somehow get involved in that discussion so that we can support it?
It'd be interesting to understand it in light of this resiliency issue, because that has to do with, you know,
What are they
Once.
proposing?
wetlands protection.
The
probably,
only
right?
one item that I heard about, but it was one of many, was increasing the no-touch zone around.
Was that the one that Michael's disturbed about?
That was the one I could understand that he was disturbed about. I
Okay.
think there was a number of them, he was quite upset. No-touch zone around wetlands.
So it's
Beyond
a,
what the state recommends.
so it's a wetlands protection bylaw that's,
Well, I'm not sure what
More
else is in it.
robust.
I think there's a variety of things in it, that's the problem. And I don't think they've totally decided what they're gonna put in it. But,
Is this something like they started a couple of years ago on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same thing?
but the issue would be that one of our goals has been to try to figure out how to get some affordable housing in town. We should just evaluate, if we're gonna support what they're proposing, we wanna make sure that it's not seriously eroding our ability to put low-cost housing in certain parts of town.
It certainly would.
I wonder if they have a map that shows what land would be impacted. That's what you'd want to know. You'd want to be
Yeah,
able to
what's
say.
the
Doesn't Carol
You're not
have
gonna
that?
get a
Exactly.
prime piece of land to build 40B. You're gonna get something that's challenging. and-
But, I mean,
Which is fine.
it's their workforce housing now that would,
Right.
but the same
Even
way.
the same, you're gonna have the same
we
problems.
need to be,
And if they restrict it even further, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot.
but part of it
The EA
is,
balance, right?
Absolutely.
yeah, but it also impacts this resiliency issue, you know, if you're
Right.
looking at water
Yes.
resource issues and floods and all that stuff, and we're gonna get crazier, you know, 100-year floods more often and that sort of thing. You wanna see where a map that they may have matches up with some of this stuff and determine whether it's gonna impact housing
Yes.
big time.
However, if we should look at it with common sense. If it's a, once an event once in a lifetime or once every 100-year event. We shouldn't go, building these,
The thing that's happening though is
Ridiculous.
that the 100-year events
That's
are
happening.
happening.
More
Yeah.
more
frequently.
frequent. than
Yeah,
a
every
100-year
other year.
event.
The ones that are
Okay,
That's
50
why
year
they call them
events.
100-year
Is
events
this,
anymore.
okay, but is this a catastrophic event or is this a nuisance event?
Well, that's
If
what
it's
we-
a nuisance event, that's one thing. If it's
Yeah.
catastrophic, that's a completely
If-
different conversation.
if
But
you-
I think that they have a tendency to empire build and go further and further and further,
We keep,
which restricts people.
we keep seeing municipalities that suddenly, like Clinton, when what was that restaurant that was down there next to the Dunkin' Donuts flooded, and stuff?
Oh, the old antique one,
Yeah, whatever, I mean,
first place I ever got drunk.
there'd been.
Is there a plaque in there?
Anyway.
Is it
Yeah,
embarrassing to
are
say?
you,
You're on, Phil.
we need to have a presentation.
Yeah. What understanding,
They should come and, we should ask them to come and talk.
Well,
right?
Ron and I will have beachfront property before we're done with it.
Well, as part of this, I was reading this, there's a section in here about beachfront property and what to do about making it resilient to rising water.
Move,
Stilts,
stilts.
Yeah.
Sandbags.
What else?
Carolyn wanna come and talk to us?
She was going to tonight, but something came up, so she said she had her bag off.
Ask her to come and talk to us about this.
She'll be here the next, she's going to attend one more of our
So let's
meetings.
do that.
She's not chairman anymore,
She can come and talk.
She's preparing for a run for the planning board.
Yeah, I talked to her the other day.
That's the logical thing to do.
Yeah, and again, my fundamental reaction is I need to understand it more before.
And she could help us with that.
Will we put her on the agenda?
Put her on the agenda
Next time?
next time.
Well, let's find out whether she's
Okay.
available.
Put her on.
Well, shouldn't we ask the chairman to send us somebody? Make it official?
Yeah, we could ask her to ask the chairman if she could come,
Yep.
Can do that.
since she's coming in.
Right.
Otherwise, Tim's gonna have to stand up and tell at town meeting and say the planning board does not vote for this conservation commission warrant article.
So is she going to come as a representative of the Conservation Commission, or she's just coming by herself?
That's what we're gonna ask her to do.
Yeah, okay.
Or we could have Walter come, since he's the proponent.
No, we don't have a meeting long enough.
He's watching the video, so.
What else we
that's
got?
what I say.
I don't care, I've said it to his face.
It's okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, we don't have anything. I
That's
sent
great.
out,
Oh my God, I'm gonna get to bed early tonight.
What do we got next time?
meet with a representative of the Conservation Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we're having the hearing for the article,
Yeah, we gotta work that out.
so town meeting is the
6th,
4th?
4th.
Correct.
Today's the 25th. You want to have the hearing the end of March? Or you want to have it the first meeting in April?
What day?
First meeting in April?
April,
7th?
sure.
Oh,
The 7th?
14th.
What?
The 14th of April, right?
Yeah,
So if we do it the 14th of April, it's got to be in the newspaper the 4th of April and the 27th of March. Which means it needs to be given to the newspaper on the 23rd. So, okay, we got plenty of time. Okay.
now, not all of the warrant articles will require a hearing, right?
Not all of them will. The marijuana one will. The scenic roads one won't, probably.
Why?
Well,
Because it's a
because
state law,
it's a
right?
state law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Margaret's trying to figure out, she went to town council and said, if we want to amend our vote to accept chapter whatever, 15C, how do we do that? If we want to add this extra layer of options for approval. So she's gone to town council. But it won't be, it's not a zoning thing, so we wouldn't get
Right, okay.
for that. I mean, I don't,
So what do we have the hearing on then?
we have a hearing on all the others, the
Okay.
gross vehicle weight and the marijuana and home-based contracting
Contract.
business and,
Or whatever it is.
oh, and we changed, patient care facility or whatever it was, you know, that
Mhm.
allow it and then ask for special permit and others. I don't know, there's like 5, 6,
And adding on to your non-conforming structure.
you know.
Dr. Jane, your old doctor, was at the public hearing for the continuing care facility down on River Road.
Delete books?
Was that?
Delete books?
Yeah, I guess whatever his first name is.
Delete,
Yeah, he went, well, his mother lives in our
Right,
community, so he
right.
went with his mother, and
okay.
from what I hear, somebody said, well, what kind of permits do we have? Well, we don't know if we need a permit. I'm a physician, you're gonna need a license and a permit to operate this facility. Did you see that? That's what I heard.
No,
No?
I mean, I left, I only stayed for a short while. I mean, the room was packed, there wasn't any room.
Where was this?
The CBA hearing on the proposed,
Oh, okay, yeah.
What do they call it?
so, I want to ask a
How is his
question.
oldest, his longest patient?
You're his longest patient? Yeah.
So in our definitions, we've got residential care facility, which is the line they applied for. Any institution licensed by the state which is maintained for the purpose of caring for 3 or more persons admitted for nursing or convalescent care, for supervision and care incident to old age, for ambulatory persons, or for retirement home care for elderly persons, including convalescent and nursing homes, rest homes, and homes for the aged, but licensed by the state. So we said, are you gonna be licensed by the state? And they said, no. And then we
You
said,
can't use that
how many
statute.
bedrooms are you gonna have? And they said, 120 something. And we said, you can only have 100
100.
people, so, I mean, you got over 100 bedrooms, you could have 200 people. So we asked, and then, you know, are you supplying meals? And they said, yeah, they'd probably do breakfast and, so it,
With all those
it didn't,
individuals?
but the building inspector said Berlin does have in the zoning bylaw a definition of a continual care retirement community, and also a definition of a continual care retirement community independent living unit. And then he says a continual care retirement community is a facility providing living accommodations, including any combination of CCRC, independent living units, assisted living residence, and/or residential care facility, and communal facilities for persons over the age of 62, and that includes at least a responsible staff on site 24 hours a day, a common dining area in which at least one main full meal is served, optional laundry, housekeeping personnel. In my opinion, you do not meet the full requirement of a residential care facility. In my opinion, a classic residential care facility would have staffing available to the residents within a common building,
Right.
so as to be able to attend to their needs. It appears that you are proposing something that is closer in scope to the continual care retirement community. However, it does not appear that you are not providing a common dining area, or at least one main meal. You define it as a dining area for residents to share meals. Community care retirement community is not a specifically allowed use in this zoning district. However, Section 314 classification for implications states a use not specifically authorized or prohibited in a district, but which is consistent with the intent of that district, and is similar to uses authorized in that district shall be classified as a special use by the zoning enforcement officer. So he's steered them in that direction. But
But are they still having individual units?
they're having.
So how do you have communal dining that way?
Well,
They got a building down the road, everybody goes there.
Huh?
we,
You got a building down the road and everybody goes there. They
So
shovel
somebody
through
that's
the snow.
85 and
They
feeble?
just shovel through the snow and get to the dining room.
so we asked about, you know, how,
I'm
who
gonna
had
say
their
it's good.
oversight, you know, the living, and they said usually these facilities have like a couple that lives there and is available.
Oh, that's bullshit.
And
24 hours a day.
so I left the meeting, so I don't know, did you listen to the tape?
No.
So I have no idea what
No,
transpired.
Everybody that came, I said, they just didn't know what they were doing.
I don't see how they fit either one of
Yeah, I
these.
don't
No.
either.
You know, Christopher House, I have a friend that's living at Christopher House.
I don't know Christopher House.
You don't know, they're in Worcester and Marlboro and I think Attleboro. You know, they're in about 5 different places. And they have rooms, or a suite of rooms, that they come downstairs on an elevator for communal dining.
Who wants these places work?
And they have staff that's there 24 hours a day. It's just like a tick below being a nursing home.
They all work like that, but.
I know, but so I don't
This
see,
is not-
Salmon's got tons of them now. They have individual units, but I don't think but they also have a central building, so as you get confirmed, you move closer and closer.
well, at
They
Whitney
just built
Place,
one in Medway. Big one, beautiful.
Yeah.
In Medway, yeah.
at Whitney Place, they have like individual apartments,
Yep.
but they're all connected by hallways and elevators and
The Worcester
common
one, they
rooms.
have some individual bungalows.
Yeah,
And then they
Yeah,
have the
that's right.
central. And
but
they
you
did
can't
in
have
Med-
everybody in bungalows because it
You
doesn't
can't.
work.
Doesn't work.
What's it, 5 or 6 stories over there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because my aunt was there a couple times.
Where?
In Worcester.
Oh,
Willows,
Worcester?
the Willows.
She went to the one that's beside, you know, closest to the hospital that's Sam and
At UMass, on the
Yeah.
campus.
So it's right there.
Yep.
So it was sort of convalescent. So she was in assisted living at Whitney Place, and then if she had trouble, she ended up either in Northbridge or over in Worcester.
Right,
But that was the beauty of it. I mean, they could take you from your
right,
assisted living to
Right,
a step up, and then you could go back. And
right.
right.
I mean, it was such a comprehensive,
Because it's designed to do that,
Program.
not like this.
yeah.
This is trying to
And
scrape
I,
the law.
and, you know, our intent, Our intent with both of these was really-
Town meeting rejected.
Hmm?
As he's trying to go around what town meeting rejected.
Yeah.
We do the same thing, call it something
Just
different.
call it something different.
yeah, this says includes
Quacks
at
like a
least
duck.
responsible staff on site 24 hours a day, common dining area,
Right.
optional laundry, medical and/or nursing home components, amenities, retail, sales, services for community. That's all. Yeah. I move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, anybody have any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Nice.